Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and I'm sure as you saw by the title today, we're talking about a variety of news throughout the gaming industry. If you haven't heard, Platinum Games, the developers for games like Automata and Bayonetta, announced Project G.G, a new game by the creator of Hideki Kamiya, who's worked on games like Devil May Cry and the Resident Evil 2, so yeah, this game's a big deal. Hideki stated that the game is taking a giant step for the studio. He continues with, as a creator, it's hard not to think of all my games as my children. After all, it takes a lot of hard work to wave them up. However, once they're done, any choices about them are entirely out of my hands. So for example, no matter how many times people tell me, you should make a sequel on this game, or I'd love to see it on that console, there's nothing I can absolutely do about it, said the creator Hideki. Also, from what Hideki said, Project GG is different from any of the other games they've made so far in the past. For one, it's going to be 100% a Platinum Games title, and that's for everything from its setting, characters, to its game design and story, to even how it's promoted. Platinum Games is in full control this time. They also released their first teaser of the new game on Wednesday, with it showing very little of the game, but more than enough to get us fans hyped about it. In the trailer, we see this guy turn into a giant, kind of like Ant-Man, except a lot bigger. And he turns into a giant to try to save a dog from getting crushed by a large building, to which is brought down by some Godzilla on steroids looking monster. The thing is freakishly big, and he kind of has a lot more spikes than Godzilla, which looks pretty cool, but how it will play out in actual gameplay is a mystery to us all, I think. The graphics for this game look pretty clean, and the story looks like it could be coherent, but I think it's safe not to assume anything just yet. I honestly have no idea what else to expect from this game, as it hasn't even given us a release date. So definitely look forward to more information on that in the sooner future. But that's not all the information on Platinum Games that we have today. They also announced on Thursday that they just opened a new studio in Tokyo, and the studio so far is housing 4 members with the intention of creating a live game service for home consoles. It only makes sense after hearing the success of EA's live service in their games. I don't see why other companies wouldn't want to jump on that, so that's why they're doing it. It's a lot of money making involved through microtransactions, which isn't good for fans, but for companies like EA and I assume now Platinum Games, yeah, it's good for them, so that kind of sucks. Also, Platinum G's remastering The Wonderful 101, which was previously released on the Wii U, and the game did really well with the Metacritic user score of 8.6. So definitely look forward to that as well. Along with all that, the company also continues to work on Bayonetta 3, which is kind of obvious considering how its predecessors did. Hopefully this one will be as good, or if not better. Doubt that. But we'll just have to wait and see. As of right now, it looks like Platinum Games has a handful of projects to keep them occupied for the next couple of years, which is definitely something to look out for considering their past titles are really good. We can only hope the same for these upcoming in the future. So yeah, definitely look out for its titles in the future, especially if you're a Nintendo user. Baldur's Gate 3 was revealed at PAX East Thursday, and it's definitely turning out to be something, according to a variety of online articles and YouTube channels. Baldur's Gate 3 is an upcoming role-playing video game developed and published by Larian Studios for Microsoft Windows and Google Stadia. If you didn't know, Larian Studios also developed the Divinity series, which I personally think is a great series, but I just haven't played it yet. I've been wanting to play them for a while, just really haven't had the time. When I do, I'll definitely get onto it. Anyway, as you hear by its title, it's the third main game in the Baldur's Gate series, and it's based on the Dungeons & Dragons tabletop role-playing system. Thursday, they released their cinematic trailer and a lot of gameplay, to which I have on my channel. I have about 20 minutes of some of that gameplay on my channel. It's not actually my gameplay by any means, it's just another source from the PAX East event, but it's on my channel nevertheless, so if you're interested, feel free to check that out. However, with that being said, the game is receiving a lot of mixed reviews from fans and critics, and that's probably because of the changes they're making to the game, one of them being the combat. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 used real-time fighting mechanics, whereas 3 is now turning to the turn-based style of fighting, which kind of sounds familiar. I have no idea why it's becoming a trend now. Anyway, a developer for Larian Studios stated it's always been a no-brainer to make Baldur's Gate 3 a turn-based game. It was never really a question. Baldur's Gate 3 designer and producer David Walgrave said, according to USG, "We've been doing turn-based for a while now. We're pretty good at it, and Dungeons & Dragons is turn-based in itself, so it makes a lot of sense. Supposedly, the biggest difference between Baldur's Gate 3 is it tries a little too hard to be a tabletop game, from what fans say. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were RPGs full of quests, combat, and dungeons. They didn't bring as much variety to those games opposed to this one, but it definitely had more of an original feel to it for fans, and I think that's what they're sort of missing in this one. With that being said, there's still a lot for fans to look forward to in this game, like the new set of bonus actions located on the bottom screen that will allow for some pretty cool new actions. For one, there's a shovel action that lets you push enemies off ledges, or the new jumping action which lets you jump into the air. You can also dip your weapons into materials, like dipping arrows into a candle so you can have fire arrows. You can now interact with people and see their faces opposed to the first two. And with the game being a turn-based now, there's also a new turn-based mode for that, which pauses the world for 6 seconds, in which you can use strategy to position you or your team in the right position for attacking enemies. But once you've used those 6 seconds, you then pause and have to wait for everyone else to move 6 seconds, and then it's back to you again, I think. Also, they've added things like splitting up your party members while you do one task and they take on another, which is pretty different opposed to its predecessors. There's also many more things to this game, like the new Divinity 4 engine opposed to the Infinity engine that they previously used. But you can look all that up on YouTube, for they will have a much better way of explaining all of this in detail. So I'll link a channel for you guys in the description to one that's more in depth. But it seems a lot like the mixed reviews out there are either fans accepting all of its changes and what it's trying to do, or it's people criticizing the game for being nothing like the original 2 and saying it's basically another Divinity game. But this shouldn't really come as a surprise, to be honest, considering that Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 came out nearly 20 years ago. So there was bound to be some changes. Anyway, I'll let you guys decide which category you fall into in that debate. All in all, Baldur's Gate 3 is set to be released to early access this year, with some leaked information about it releasing this summer. So you guys can probably look forward to this a lot sooner rather than later. Predator Hunting Grounds released a new trailer this week, giving us a release date for its trial weekend on March 27th to the 29th. The trial will allow you to play solo as the Predator or team up online with 3 other players as part of a fire team. If you guys didn't know, Predator Hunting Grounds is a multiplayer set in the jungle and consists of a team of 4 players who will play in elite special forces whose job is to wipe out bad guys and complete special missions. However, while this element of the game plays out, another player will take control of the Predator to try to wipe out all the special forces on the team and other members as possible. Also, for the first time in a Predator game, players will have the option to play as a female version of the Predator, which is definitely a plus for a lot of people, including myself. The Predator Hunting Grounds releases for the PlayStation 4 and Windows computers on April 28th. So you guys can just add this game on the list of must-play games this year, which I'd assume by now is pretty hefty. People are speculating that Rockstar Games teased its setting for GTA 6, showing a picture of a golden robot woman in a bathing suit hugging the Rockstar logo. You can find this when entering the search bar of the Rockstar Games website. Well, you can't anymore. But I think this could be a good way to hype up people for GTA 6 if GTA 6 reveals itself at E3. But if that happens, and I doubt people would need any sort of hype for that, I think that's hype enough. Anyway, if this really is a tease, then I can only assume that another Cyberpunk setting is in the works. Or it could be a futuristic one, which either would be pretty damn cool for GTA, especially if it keeps the same narrative the way it is. It would definitely explain why we've waited so long for this game, because a futuristic world is a lot more intricate than a normal one. I mean, it would be pretty cool seeing a futuristic train in GTA.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
But as of right now, that's only speculation, and I doubt we'll actually get any information on GTA 6 till E3. So I guess we'll just have to wait 4 months until we get any more information on that. Or maybe a couple more till we see any more leaks. Probably around the time of E3s when we'll start actually seeing, I think, some sufficient links for GTA 6. As of right now, it's just mere speculation, and that's more on the side of unrealistic speculation. I doubt anything we get now it's actually going to make a difference for the actual game. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. If there's something else you actually wanted me to include in this news video, or you want me to include in the future, just put it down in the comments below. I will definitely get to the topic eventually, and I'll explain it in more detail opposed to these. I'm trying to run through a quick amount of topics at a time rather than be too extensive for you guys, so you can just get a brief understanding. But if you want me to be more thorough, then I can do that as well. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe, because there's so much left in the world of gaming, and I look forward to seeing all of it with you guys. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Till next time.